we'll all fly away together. Into the forever and beautiful sky.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is the third, fourth if you count the holiday special, and seemingly final entry in the Guardians of the Galaxy film series, and the 32nd overall in the entire MCU franchise. The Guardians are back, this time still in mourning over the loss of Gamora following the events of Infinity War and Endgame, and this time the Guardians have to go up against yet another deadly foe who has a previous history with one of their own, and this is a mission that may finally spell the end for this crew. So before we get started with the actual review, I want to quickly remind everyone that I have started a brand new Patreon page, and a very special thank you and shout out to Michael Davis for his support and for being my very first patron. And as a reminder, that for as low as only $1 a month, your name will appear right here, and you'll get 24-hour early access to some of my videos, like my upcoming Looney Tunes Part 9 video. The link to that page is in the description below. So, let me preface this review by saying this right out of the gate. This movie contains some of the best moments out of all the Guardian films, and possibly the entire MCU. I am being 100% serious when I say this. This movie goes to great lengths to show us Rocket's backstory and how he became the person, or rather, raccoon that we all know and love. And these flashback scenes are some of the most haunting, depressing, and nightmare-inducing moments in the entire MCU. It's not only a sad, really dark story, but it's also a surprisingly philosophical one about the nature of creation, the hubris of man, and an exploration of the psychology of an abusive parent. This could have been its own short film, and it would have been a rich, emotionally fulfilling experience all by itself. And honestly, Bradley Cooper deserves a lot of credit for his voice acting here, where he goes to great lengths to convey the pain that Rocket feels as his story continues. And I'm probably not going to get this right, Chuck Woody Uwuji's performance as the High Evolutionary is chilling. A man completely lacking in anything resembling human emotion and sees life as a plaything to be manipulated. Anytime the movie jumped to a flashback, I always got excited. I wanted to experience this story and where it was going to go next. But sadly, the film isn't that consistently great throughout. But we'll get to the stuff that doesn't quite work in a little bit, because I do want to talk a little bit more about the stuff that does work. Like the other Guardian films, this film is a showcasing of great talent, bringing fun, memorable characters to life. And it is heartwarming to see them form into this kind of cohesive, family-esque unit. Chris Pratt as Star-Lord, Zoe Saldana as Gamora, Dave Bautista as Drax, you get the picture. They're all perfectly cast, and it's always fun to watch them bounce off of each other. And newcomer Will Poulter is also a great presence as Adam Warlock. And all their personalities actually make a lot of the humor that results in the film feel pretty natural. The comedy in this film is a lot better integrated into the narrative than something like, I don't know, just spitballing here, Thor Love and Thunder. And yeah, this movie can indeed be really funny. Now, unfortunately, most of the film's best jokes are in the trailers, but it does still have some great surprises. The best joke in the movie involves a character murdering another character. It's a joke that's so dark, like something straight out of the Suicide Squad, but the execution of it is handled so flawlessly that the result is nothing short of hysterical. And like many of the other Guardian films, these are a series of films that are not afraid to be a little weird. They're creative, and sometimes the sheer absurdity of what you're looking at is enough to elicit a laugh. There is a lot of fun to be had here that manages to work in tandem with the film's more disheartening material without either one feeling overwrought. So yeah, when this film is good, it's really, really good. But unfortunately, there are some issues here. There are a few things about this film that I think could have been handled better. Probably the most obvious complaint in here is that this film is just so overstuffed. And I get it. James Gunn is basically trying to wrap up all these stories and all these character arcs that had been built up over the course of these and the Avengers films. And yeah, there are a lot of characters in here, but there really is just so much going on in this film that, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I had to refocus myself trying to figure out what exactly was going on. This was particularly bad in the climax, which stretches and stretches itself out to a pretty ridiculous degree so that the plot can move in the way that it needs to. But I had to keep reminding myself where exactly everyone was and what a particular character's motivations were or who they were working for. And yeah, it would be more accurate to say that the third act felt a little bit more exhausting than outright rousing. This is not helped by the fact that the film, on top of feeling the need to build to a big, epic climax with tons of moving set pieces, it also has to simultaneously take time to establish things so that the characters can finally reach the end of their stories. And even after all that, even though it takes its time with the climax, there are still some cheats with regards to certain characters. One character makes a drastic shift in motivation that feels very forced in order to keep the plot moving, and the ultimate conclusion that another character makes about their own fate and what they feel they need to do next, I don't know, it just didn't feel right. It doesn't feel like it was organically built up, to the point that when the character said it, I thought to myself, when was this established? And of course, there are minor quibbles that aren't really worth getting too worked up, like not how every joke lands, stuff that comes with the territory when you're making a film with a lot of comedy in it. So yeah, obviously, not perfect, and in my opinion, the weakest of the Guardians movies. But the weakest in a series this strong is still really good. I greatly appreciated this film taking a darker, more somber route, while still managing to keep in the humor without it coming across as forced. I enjoy watching these characters, I enjoy watching these actors bring them to life, and the backstory they give to Rocket is just, man, it is some of the most hard-hitting, contemplative, downright depressing material that you're likely ever to see in a Marvel film, period. James Gunn is a master at handling tone, and this is no exception. While not the knockout like so many people were hoping for, myself included, this was still a good time at the movies, and a largely fitting conclusion for a great superhero team. Nothing else, it is a lot better than Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 gets a full shot. And I guess that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you want to see my early thoughts of any film I watch or to read more of my reviews, make sure to check out my Letterboxd account. The link to that is in the description below. And make sure that you're subscribed so that you don't miss any upcoming reviews. Have a good day, and I'll see you next time.